Okay, so the first question is, what does each poem have to say about what is expected of women regarding beauty?
Um, this um, poem is very clear of how they talk about their what they expect of women. So, like the first one, she emphasized on the word like big nose and fat legs, and how she has to change it up like everything, because those to have big nose and fat legs are not in a standard of consider of being beautiful, right? So that's the first one. Um, the second one, I think, is the I think it started up really sad, like how she was taking all the medicine and everything to be beautiful. Um, where did it go? I don't remember where did I find that, but it was talking about something that um, well, I can't find it. Sorry, you
This
guys can
is
click
not
on
the
it.
first
It's the
part,
first sentence.
because I have it in front of me, what they're talking about.
When
When the medication she was taking caused tiny vessels in her face to break, leaving faint but permanent blue stitches in her cheeks, my sister said she knew she would never be beautiful again.
Yeah, yeah. So, yep, that one. And this is what
I
I
think
was thinking of. It's I think it was the third paragraph of the second one is say, but I could see her pause inside that moment as the knowledge spread across her face with a fine distress sucking the peach out of her lips. What do you guys think about that? Because in my interpretation, like sucking the peach out of her lips is it talking about the colors of the lips or something?
I think so. Like she's like, because the whole poem is talking about how she used to be beautiful, and now she's like realizing she's never gonna be beautiful again. So like the peach, like the nice color in her lips, is like going away
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah, which is like that was one of the standards of the beauty in that poem. Oh, and then like it's making her cute nose um, for the first time a little knobby. So like her cute nose that she has before now, it looks like a little knobby, and so that's mean the standard of beauty. Like to have like a knobby nose is not beautiful. That's for me.
Yeah. I think the author was just saying in that part that, like, she's realizing she's not pretty anymore, but she's trying to act like it's kind of like a good thing. Like she's like, "Oh, I'm so relieved I don't have to be beautiful anymore." But for a moment, you see that it kind of hits her and like is upsetting to her. Like it's not just purely relief. Like she's distressed by it.
I think the poem is really sad, and society has become so bad, and a lot of women nowadays like will go above and beyond to change who they really are. And I find this really sad. I think that's the message that the author is trying to give to the reader, like make the reader understand how women change their things so that they're really not just because they want to satisfy the society.
I think that the first poem, the Barbie doll poem, talking about how like women are expected to from like the very start and just to like always be these like beautiful beings, because in the first part of the poem it says, "This girl child was born as usual and presented dolls that did pee and miniature GE stoves and irons and wee lipsticks the color of cherry candy." So like from the very beginning they're given all these things to help them learn how to like act like girls, and I don't know, just like learn how to be beautiful. So and if they're not beautiful, if like this girl that they're talking about in the poem, who has like their classmate notices that some fat legs, they have to like upkeep and like do all these things to make sure that they are beautiful, like exercise, come on hardy, diet, smile, wheedle, have a good nature. Yeah, so they're just like expected to be beautiful, like because they're women, they're just like, it's what expected of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think the poems are saying like, at least the first one is kind of showing like you have to go to extreme lengths. Like it's a woman's duty to be beautiful. So if you're not, you should do everything in your power to do so. I think the second one kind of shows, well, how hard it is if someone isn't beautiful, but also how it can be freeing to not have to care about that anymore.
I think another thing that's interesting about the first poem is that it like, I mean, it's not just that she had like these bad qualities, like her nose and her legs, but it even mentioned like she was good at everything else, like she was smart and she was healthy and she was like pretty much there was no problems other than that, but just because of these tiny little things, like that's what people focused on about her.
Yeah, like her physical beauty, like she was good, like her character was good on the inside, but yeah.
Okay.
I thought something was interesting that.
Oh wait, keep going.
Sorry, no, just like comment. I thought it was interesting in the second poem, by Tony Hoagland, talking about how, like, the sister in the poem, how she spent a lot of her time in high school like pretending to be like the dumb blonde who like tossed their hair and like laughed at everything. So she was beautiful in the sense of like, I don't know, just being happy and playful and I don't know, just like acting dumb. But then later on in the poem, how like she no longer was going to be like one of these beautiful women, and there was going to be other beautiful women on the streets. It says, and all those other beautiful women in the magazines and on the streets just kept on being beautiful everywhere you looked, walking in that kind of elegant, disinterested trance. And so I thought like there was a contrast between like you're beautiful, you're happy, and like light natured, but then like they're kind of like the opposite of that. Like they're just disinterested and like elegant, and I don't know, they're just like nice to look at. I don't know. Just saying, like the contrast is like the type of beauty that he was talking about.
Like for the paper, I kind of started writing the introduction, but what do you guys think like the main moral of the poems are? Or morals, if they're really different.
I think it's just a woman trying to or not just to satisfy society. She's trying to be beautiful according to what the society wants.
Also, it kind of seems like there's like these two, when you read the second poem, like they just kind of talk in absolutes. Like the sister's like, I am not beautiful anymore. And those people are beautiful. So you're either one or the other. So it's kind of just like black and white, like the have and the have nots. And if you're not beautiful, then that's just the way it is, and you have to like develop other traits, or you're not worthy as a person. Like you're a lesser person than the beautiful people. When really, like, you think like appearances are more like, I feel like they're on a spectrum, and just really it's like everyone has different tastes. Like especially when you go around the world and travel, you see that like some of the stuff like in America that we think is so beautiful, we go in another country and it's not, or something. So.
Do you guys think that these poems are like exaggerating, or do you really feel like women are held to that standard?
What'd you say before? Do you think women are held before that standard?
Like, do you think the poems are an exaggeration? Like, do you think that these authors are exaggerating? Or do you think it's realistic?
I don't think the author who writes Barbie doll, I don't think he's exaggerating. I think he's being realistic, but like not all the women are like that. But I think he's telling the reader the truth about
I think it's only exaggerating for just some group of women, like Nick said, but I think that's also a beauty standard or like perspective that is being seen in that as a general. Like when they think of woman, they kind of think of like like the poem. They forgot or they don't really talk about some women that is actually not are being held to that standard. This majority is more like that than not like that.
I don't know. I agree with the. I think maybe the first one's extreme because that was like, oh, she, like that, like kind of referenced plastic surgery and like death and things, which I don't think everyone goes to that length. But I think it's true. I think like now there's a lot more pressure than ever because they're just like blasted with images all day long from like TV and magazines, and like most of them aren't even real. They're like airbrush photos, but I don't know, like, I realized, like, my sister, she's only, like, 12 years old, and she already says, like, things sometimes about wanting to look a certain way, or, like, she wished she had this color hair, this color eyes, and, like, she's only 12, and she's already saying that stuff. I think that's just kind of, like, a sign of her generation. Like, when I was 12, I wasn't even thinking about that. But already, at her age, they're, like, already starting to worry about, like, who has what clothes, and who's wearing this, and that's just.
I think it's because of the accessibility that we have now to social and learn outside, and so people can see and compare themselves more. But back in those times that this poem was being written, I think it's a little exaggerating. But it's like comparing. I think they kind of see our time. And also, in some countries, it's really true for like this poem. Like for the plastic surgery and stuff, I don't really see it's super big here in America, except for the Hollywood and stuff like that. But it's really big in my country and in Asia.
Yeah, when I went to. Oh, go ahead, Nicholas.
The thing happens here in Colombia a lot of, and it's very sad. There's a lot of women here who they get plastic surgery on their breasts and their butt just to look nicer for the guys that are rich mostly happen, and they also actually do spend a lot of money on clothes and stuff like that. Even my little sister, I have a 13-year-old sister. She tries to save money just to buy clothes because their friends are using it and stuff like that. And I think it's very sad, like what Evie mentioned, and like what kind of clothes I had. My sister is like worrying about like she has the when it was fun and stuff like that. And I think the author's been really realistic.
Okay, you guys want to? I'll go on to the next question. What are the obstacles faced by women who want to try to meet the standards of beauty society sets?
Well, it's expensive. Sometimes it's not even possible. Just like thinking of the Barbie doll poem, like, have you guys ever heard that thing about like the figure of a Barbie doll? Like only like one, and I don't remember the number exactly, like so many women can actually have a figure like that. Just because like your proportions have to be like perfectly lined up. And, like it's just not realistic, I guess. But people still like go to extremes to try to achieve it.
Yeah, it takes so much like time and energy to like meet society's standards of what beauty is. Even with Sister Ho talking about her daughter and how being beautiful a chore, like putting on makeup or like exercising and like dieting to like fit the right kind of body. It just takes so much like energy and time, consumes people, and it becomes like their whole world and what they like have to do.
Okay, I think it like brings kind of like mental instability too, and like or even mental illness. Like, have you heard of like body dysmorphia? Like you can't see your body for the way it actually is. Like you're always gonna think that you're too big or you're too skinny, and I think that's kind of like the trap people get in. Like if you keep going after like these impossible beauty standards, like nothing's ever going to go on.
Next question.
Yeah. What are the consequences of those that do not? Women that don't try and meet standards of beauty, what consequences do they face?
I think it's mentioned in the poem, right, that people look at them or something. Like, let me find it. Guess in deep time.
Well, you might feel like they might feel worthless, like just like in the first poem, even though she had other talents and stuff. Like none of that mattered to her because she wasn't pretty, and that's like the one thing she wanted to be.
I think in the second poem, like about this, but like it was a relief now that like she wasn't beautiful. Like it wasn't something that she had to worry about anymore. One thing, I don't know, that she doesn't have to work towards.
Well, it makes me think of there's this documentary on Netflix called Iris, and it's about this old lady. She's like a fashion beauty icon, but she really isn't like traditionally beautiful, anyways, and she knows it. And like in the show, she's always saying like she doesn't really like beautiful people and beautiful things, and she said she liked growing up not really that pretty because she said it forced her to like develop her personality and her talent and her own sense of style, and then she felt like people loved her for who she was instead of who she was on the outside. So that kind of reminded me of that second poem, how it felt like kind of a relief to not be beautiful.
I agree with what Taylor say about like the first one, how she doesn't even notice that she has other talents. The only thing she's caring about is being beautiful, and I think that's I have a lot of coincidence with today's society. Like there's like a little amount of women who actually care less about beauty. Like there are other important things for them than just looking beautiful from the eyes of the society.
I also think that the consequences is actually are not only depends on yourself, but it depends on the society that you're associating yourself in. Because if you're really in a place or social life that beauty is the first thing, is a big part and priority, and the consequence, of course, it would be negative if you don't meet their standard. But if you're like here in Hawaii, for those of you that are in Hawaii, like the beauty is different from the beauty in other places, and the consequences can be positive in a way.
Does anyone know how much time we have left?
I think we have like 10 more minutes.
Yeah, we're about 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Do you guys think like beautiful people have easier lives? Do you think that's true?
I think so. Like, have you ever heard like women or like moms tell their daughters like, "Oh, nothing matters as long as you're pretty, because then you can get a rich husband."
Yeah, that actually happens a lot here in Colombia. It's very sad.
I think,
Yeah, go ahead.
they probably have an easier life for sure, because they have that perfect body and face already. So of course, it's easier than people that have so many weaknesses that you can point out. But I don't think they have a really that good life, because there's always things that can happen to them. Like they can be like, oh, I'm not beautiful enough. They can still compare themselves to others, and there's
I feel like they get so many more like perks too, like more attention because they're beautiful and people want to be around them and they want to like do favors for them so they can hang out with them.
Yeah.
They're noticed more attention.
Yeah, like you have more access to like and people and jobs. That's why I thought of like they've like done like empirical studies where like if you look a certain way, you're gonna get hired over this other person every time. Like even though they try and seem like oh, like we just look at the resume, like we're not looking at people with their appearance. It almost always relates to the way they look.
Or sometimes you can even like the good-looking people can be thinking that that people hang out with me. Oh no, hold on. Okay, people can trust you more sometimes because of like the good appearance that you have, and then sometimes people can be like thinking in a negative way, but that like you're good-looking, you might not be as smart as people just have different perspective, and they grab attention from people more. It can be both negative and positive. Let's go to the next question.
Yeah. What happens when someone cannot meet society's expectations of beauty?
Sometimes they just get to depression, or they think they're not like made to be in society. But I think when someone cannot meet society expectations, they just get depressed and they think they're the worst thing. That's what my older sister is a psychologist, and she works with people like this all the time, and that's what she tells me all the time. Like they get depressed and they want to kill themselves just because they don't fill up other people, like they don't meet society's expectations.
Um, I feel that's true. Like people just like that consumes them that they can't meet the expectations of beauty. But I also think that like in the second poem where it was talking about how like she was no longer beautiful, okay, what's next? It's like something that she doesn't have to worry about, and maybe she can like focus like on different qualities that she offers or like talents that she has. And that kind of reminds me of so in my Hawaiian history class we were learning about these two princesses. One, the one who came first, she like didn't meet the Westerners' expectations of beauty because like they had a different standard of beauty than like the Hawaiians that were there because they saw them as like brutes and like I don't know, they just didn't meet the same expectations of their beauty. So she was forced to like in a sense because she wasn't beautiful, so people didn't really want to pay attention to her. But people as in like the foreigners. But at the same time, she was taken more seriously because she had more to offer, or not more to offer. She had the same thing to offer as the other princess, but she just had like different qualities that she was able to showcase to other people. The princess, she was like considered beautiful by the Westerners because she met their standards of beauty, and she looked more like English. She had more like English features, but at the same time, they only focused on her beauty, and she wasn't really taken as seriously because like she got attention from other people. Attention like stopped at like her beauty. Like she wasn't really sought after for like her character or the power that she had, or like other traits that she had. So, I don't even remember the question anymore. I think when you don't meet the expectation of beauty, you just like you have more chances to show like what you offer besides beauty. I think that's what it is.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the last one. How might the effort of trying to meet society's expectations of beauty affect a person's life?
Well, it's kind of everything we do. Like we get up in the morning and take a shower so that we look clean and feel clean and like so other people have a good perspective of us. Like we pick out our clothes according to like what's in style or we do our hair according to what's normal. Like everything we do is basically to like based on our appearance is kind of what will other people think of me. That's why like, most people do it. At least like that's why I do it. Like I don't want to look like a freak if I go out and I'm like dressed weird and so I don't know. It's just like people buy expensive clothes to please other people or that's why they like spend money on their appearance, I guess.
I think another way it can affect people is that, according to what Taylor says, that they become addicted to this. Like it becomes something that they do on their daily. Like it just becomes an addiction to buy expensive clothes and always think about what the society is gonna think if I dress like this, if my makeup is like this, if my body is like this. So I think the way it can affect people is just that it becomes an addiction.
Okay, can we talk about the paper for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. Um
Are you writing this one?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
So what do you guys think I should put as the thesis? Like I just kind of think that it's somewhere along the lines of women are held to like they're not just affected by the standard of beauty, but it kind of like defines women.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're making a statement whether you reject it or accept it.
Okay. And then I'll just mention what we talked about.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop.